how's it going? Welcome to another pre-recorded video that I'm going to use to tide you over while I'm not in America. How's it going, guys? I hope that you want to see my June Senate prediction for 2022. All right. So first of all, do I think California can flip? Hell no. All right. So we're just gonna fill in the safe blue states. Maryland, I'll save for later. Nothing to do with LTE, by the way. Well, actually, Vermont, I'm going to save too. There's some good content to be had. So this is what I'm going to be filling it out with. So far, what else is there? Let me think. So there's going to be one. Oh wait, yeah, fuck. Okay. So I think Louisiana is going to be safe R, obviously. I think Bill Cass. No. John Kennedy, who's a Trump loyalist, is going up for re-election. Trump endorsed him. That's fine with me. We have Alaska, Lisa Murkowski. Will a better Republican beat Murkowski? Maybe. And either way, I don't see a Democrat winning, so that's going Republican either way. Utah, we have Mike Lee, I think, who's this Mormon, who's a complete libertard. He's going to win without a primary contest, I believe. We have Hawaii, obviously going Democrat. We have Idaho. Oh, I think it's Idaho with Mike Crapo or something. Who cares? North Dakota, irrelevant red. We have, I think, John Thune in 22, who Trump solicited Kristi Noem to run against, but she doesn't want to. Freaking pussy. Anyway, it's gonna go Republican either way. So as of right now, I don't see a strong primary challenge to John Thune, even though there should be. Kansas, we have Roger. No, not even Roger Marshall. I think it's somebody else who's going again. Anyways, let's go in red. Then we have Arkansas. And it's not Tom Cotton. It's another person, John Boozman. So that's going to go red. We have Oklahoma, and I think that's the redhead. What's his name? James Lankford. Okay, that's going red. We have Rand Paul. That's going red. The black guy is running against him. I think it's Charles Booker. He has no fucking chance. We have in the red here, Richard Shelby's retiring. That's an open seat. I think it's going to be... It's not Roy Moore. That guy's sus. It's the other guy. Barrymore? Mo Brooks? Something like that. He's good. We have Todd Young, I believe, running here. He's kind of meh. Then we have Missouri is going to go red, even with Greitens. He didn't do nothing. He's innocent. All he did, I think, was cheat on his wife, which is degenerate, but that's like normal degenerate. There's some stuff about him like tying somebody like in his basement and some real creepy stuff. But turns out that there was some prosecutorial misconduct, so he should be doing fine in Missouri. Anyway, South Carolina, we have Lady G, not to be confused with Mr. G. Lindsey Graham is not running. It's going to be this, who is it? Tim Scott, the black guy. He got endorsed by Trump, so nobody's going to beat him. There's some guy, Tim Swain, doesn't have a chance, no offense. We have Marco Rubio, who got Trump's endorsement, I think, so he's going to win, almost guaranteed. Nikki Fried said recently that Rubio's going down. Yeah, okay, retard. No way. Colorado, I think, is going to go probably, I'd say... Well, let's think about it. Who's running? I think it's Michael Bennett against God knows who. Maybe Cory Gardner will run again. I doubt it. We can leave that as likely. Yeah, likely, right? Like, could it go like 9 points to the Democrats? Yeah, why not? What about Iowa? Iowa has Chuck Grassley. I'm pretty sure he's going to run again. Any Republican should be able to win it safe because it is red year. And if it is Chuck Grassley, who normally wins by like 20% anyway, then he should be able to easily win it safe. And if it's his grandson or something, he should be able to win it by more than 5. So I'll just meet you in the middle and give him, whoever runs, a 10+% victory. I don't know. Is it going to be competitive? Who knows? What other state am I going to cover? Vermont. There's a very small chance that we have like an independent candidacy for Phil Scott. I doubt it. So just assume it's going to Patrick Leahy. Yeah, and then we have the next most obvious one being Maryland, and we have the Republican Rhino governor. I think his name is Larry Hogan. Could he win as an independent or a Republican? Maybe, small chance, sure, but probably in most cases is going to go to a Democrat. So we'll just leave it as is. So far, pretty competitive ride. Um, we move on to fuck. Okay, hold on. Then the easiest one that could go Republican, maybe debatably, would be Ohio. And Ohio has a lot of people in contention. It could be the Warren Davidson guy. I think he's running. We have J.D. Vance who could be running. We have Jane Timken who's running. Josh Mandel. I don't know, but whoever is the Republican nominee is probably going to beat Tim Ryan, who seems to be the guy who's going to be the nominee for the Democrats in Ohio by a likely to safe margin. I'll just put it likely to hedge my bets. It obviously depends on who the candidate is and whether or not the primary is very contested, or if like Trump endorses somebody and then everybody else drops out, and then there's like no residual resentment in the Republican Party of Ohio. But who knows what's going to happen? It's too early. This is like over a year away, right, guys? The next one I think would be the next easiest one is if Chris Sununu runs, and I'm leaning towards him running. Okay, and if he does run, he's very popular. I think he would win it, at least by like a lean margin. The Democrats in New Hampshire aren't bad candidates, so to speak, but Chris Sununu is very popular. So, and even if it is not statewide, it is a federal election. I get that, but he would be a good candidate for New Hampshire as is, and he would be a reliable vote on most issues, I believe. So that would be a net positive, and he's very vital. If Chris Sununu runs, he would make our chances of winning the Senate a lot higher than it would be if it were some other Republican who's not popular like he is. Now, we have the next easiest one to go Republican, in my opinion, would be North Carolina, because North Carolina isn't really trending blue. And because of that fact, I would say that it's probably going to go lean R. The Republicans should be able to outdo Trump by a couple points because it is a red wave, just off of that fact alone. And also consider the fact that we have the candidate Ted Budd, who's going to get 100% of the Trump vote. There's not going to be any like lack of turnout, I think, and the Democrats aren't fielding anybody as of right now that I know of prominently. You know, and Cal Cunningham was a good candidate, but he had that one issue at the very end of him being a pervert, and that bit him in the ass, and because of that he lost. Just hilarious, by the way. But either way, guys, I think that in like 60 or 70% of the scenarios that I can think of, the Republicans do win it. And in most of those cases where they win, it's a lean margin, not a tilt margin, and not a likely margin either. I'm assuming it's going to be competitive, but not crazy competitive. Like Ohio, but not as red. Okay, let's think about it that way. Now, let's move on to the next easiest one to win. And I think that could possibly be Wisconsin, believe it or not. And I say this because Wisconsin, unlike Georgia and Arizona, aren't trending left because of demographics and other issues like that, and suburbs aren't as bad here in Wisconsin. And because of that fact, I'm going to lean towards Ron Johnson, who I'm pretty sure is going to run again, who I think has the Trump endorsement already, and if not, he will get it. He should be able to win it lean. I don't know who would run against him in 2022. I don't know of any candidates. What I do know is that he outperformed Trump, I think, in 2010 and 2016. I'm pretty sure he ran in 2010. Either way, he did outperform Trump in 2016, which means that he is relatively good for the state. And plus the red wave factor, it's like a 70% chance that Ron Johnson will win re-election, and probably by a lean margin if he does decide to run and pulls it through. Now, the next most likely state to go Republican, in my opinion, is I would say Georgia, because I feel as if it's while it is trending left, and that's inevitable, the suburbs are getting too big, the black turnout is higher than it used to be, etc. It's getting too diverse. Given the current composition of the Republican Party, it's not going to last as a red contentious state. You know, it's drifting blue pretty quick. But 2022 might be the last gasp because of the red wave. You consider that Warnock only beat Loeffler by, I think, 2% or something like that. Now, if it were a red wave, Loeffler would win 2022. And so if a shitty candidate like Loeffler could win, then if we run anybody that's better than Loeffler, that would make it even easier to win. And the incumbency won't help Warnock enough for him to win. And Warnock is not a moderate. He's not a blue dog or anything, so he's not going to get any of that Dixiecrat support. So unless he really juices turnout and the Republican sucks and Trump doesn't endorse him, then there's no reason why the Republican can't beat Warnock. And now because the trend is still a thing, it'll still be kind of close. So let's assume that the Republican beats Warnock by 1 or 2%. Now that's me playing it conservative. Obviously, I have a gut feeling that it'll be like a lean margin. But of course, the trend makes me more bullish on that question. And already we've retaken the Senate. Now, if we move on to the 2022 Senate race, I think the next one that would be the easiest is Pennsylvania. And I say this because, again, you don't have the trending issues of Georgia and Arizona, but you also have the benefit that I think the Republican candidate that's going to be the nominee, I think, is Sean Parnell, right? And Sean Parnell is a competent candidate. I think he is about on Trump's level of electability in Pennsylvania. So, like, in a competitive election, it'd be on a knife's edge. It'd be 50-50. But because he is running against Fetterman, and it is a red wave, I would probably venture to say that he'd win at tilt at least, if not lean. And I say this because he would get all the MAGA vote. He is, I think, a Navy SEAL, a retired Navy SEAL, and so a retired veteran does play well. Obviously, the suburban people will see him as less offensive than Trump, which will help. Also, keep in mind that Fetterman is a Democratic socialist, I think. So he's a Bernie bro, which is not going to play well with the suburbs. Okay, so that's one of the key reasons why Biden won, quote unquote, Pennsylvania. Wink. Was the suburb trend. Now, keep in mind that that Bernie bros will not do good in the suburbs, and some might say, well, he might get some of the white working class vote, and it's like, well, no, actually, because even if he does make a play for like the coal town people, the the white blue collar people, all Sean Parnell has to say is you support Black Lives Matter, you're anti-fracking, you're pro Green New Deal, you're pro tranny, you're pro gay, you're a queer, you're fucking ugly. So he should be able to win. Maybe the Bernie Bros would have some appeal in the Midwest, but all this gay shit is really holding them back. I'm not gonna lie. You need to tone it down on the queer stuff. Anyways, we move on to the next most likely state to flip red, and I think honestly, it's I would say Arizona would be closer, but I'm gonna leave that to the end because that's my state. We're gonna go to Nevada, and I think Nevada would go tilt R, and I'll tell you why. In the past presidential election, we had Trump lose it, wink, wink, by about 2%, I think. And if it were a red wave, Trump would win Nevada, if you see it that way. So if we get Trump's result from 2020 and add a couple points to it because of the red wave, the Republican candidate would win. And in order for a Republican candidate to get all the Trump base would be like a guy like Adam Laxalt, or somebody who's MAGA enough to get all the regular people as well as to not alienate the suburbs too bad, should be able to win Nevada. Let's also keep in mind that Jackie Rosen, who is a congresswoman from Nevada, is not an amazing candidate by any means. She is pretty average. So because of the national environment, I do believe that the Republicans should be able to keep the Senate seat in Nevada competitive and actually leaning towards them. So that's that. Then we have Arizona. And Arizona, I think, is going to go red by a tilt margin. I'll be conservative, and I'll tell you why. If we do a little bit better with Hispanics, the demographic change between 2020 and 2022 will be negligible at best. So that shouldn't be an issue in the Sun Belt, right? Like in 2022. Given the presidential election results, wink, again, I'm not going to die on YouTube by saying anything on optical. But the point is that it was a really close election either way, and because of that, with the red wave, a Trumpian candidate can win Arizona. Now, what happened in 2020 though was that Mark Kelly did outperform McSally by 2%, right? So Mark Kelly is a good candidate. He can raise a lot of money, but that's because he campaigned as a moderate and as a blue dog Democrat like Kyrsten Sinema did in Arizona in 2018. And the only way that he's going to be able to really win is if the trends in Arizona keep going and are like double as quick as they were in 2020, right? So if the state electorate swings like 4% more Democrat, then he could hang on. But other than that, he's pretty fucked, and I'll tell you why. He's voted to the left of what he promised, right? So the suburbs that voted for him, the white blue collar people that voted for him and Trump, but not McSally, all those people are coming back to the Republican candidate, whether that's Blake Masters or Andy Biggs, anybody like that. Arizona is kind of moderate, to be honest, which is too bad, but it is not far right. So the furthest right-wing person that I think that could win Arizona is Andy Biggs. And so the recipe to win here would be painting Mark Kelly as to the left of Sinema, to say that this guy governed to the left. He voted with Joe Biden X amount of percent of the time, and Joe Biden's been a disaster, and this is assuming Joe Biden's approval rating is under 50%. And so you time to Joe Biden, you say you're anti-gun, Arizona is definitely a gun state, so that's how you keep the the white blue collar vote. The Mormon stuff for Andy Biggs might help him, might hurt him, and it depends on the candidate. We don't know yet, but in general, I think, given the field of candidates we do have, we have a couple of good ones. So because of that, I do think that we are able to win Arizona by a tilt margin, maybe even lean, but we don't know. Mark Kelly was a good candidate in 2020. He obviously has lost the luster a little bit, but he could bring it home, so we don't know yet. But as of right now, this is my Senate prediction video. It is going to be 54-46. We will flip Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania. Wait, fuck. No, we're not. We're flipping New Hampshire. We are flipping Georgia 2, Arizona 3, Nevada 4. Okay, we're at 50 right now, so that would make it 54 net, right? And then there's some open seats where we could see improvement in the roster of Republicans, including places like North Carolina, Ohio, Alabama, etc. And that'll be white pilling to see in the future. But as of right now, that's what I predict as of June of 2021. It's looking like but the Biden administration, or whoever controls the White House at the moment, they're not doing good right now, and they are not looking like they're going to pick it back up in the next 2 years. So I don't see it being a good midterm year for the Democrats. And it looks like the Trumpian message will be able to win over enough votes to give us 54 seats. And this is definitely a reasonable map. I could say like, oh well, Wisconsin's going safe, Ohio's safe. Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna be pretty mild mannered in here and say, you know what, we're gonna pick up a good amount of seats. This will hopefully be able to block virtually everything that Joe Biden does after 2023, if he's still president, obviously. But yeah, that's my prediction. What do you guys think? I think this is pretty reasonable. Yeah, Arizona's going red. Fuck what y'all think. All right, bye.